Well, listen, you know that you don't necessarily have to add salt to your food to be eating too much of it. Well, we took to the streets to find out how much salt the average South African consumes every day.
I don't know. And are there things, we also wanted to find out, are there things that you can eat without salt and what you absolutely need to have salt on? And if you found any handy, healthy substitutes. So let's hear from you guys on the street.
Probably 15 teaspoons, 20 teaspoons.
Let's say 40 teaspoons.
I could just say lots.
Tomato.
I'm not a big salt person, but I would say it's probably potato wedges or chips.
Rice? Pasta?
Probably soy sauce, depending on what you're cooking.
With veggies, you might cook it with soya sauce or with oyster sauce, and it obviously provides a saltiness.
There are so many spices, and fresh herbs always make the biggest difference in any meal. So I think fresh herbs always makes the difference.
I'll be impressed.
It's a big plus. You don't have to worry about that then.
I'd feel good about it. I think, again, as I was saying, we need more retailers to be responsible in what they're selling and what they're stocking because they influence consumer buying behavior. I think it's great.
Last week, Cindy Chen was in studio to give us tips on how to reduce the amount of sugar we'll be consuming over the festive season. And today she's back to give us some insight on easy ways to replace salt, which high salt foods to avoid, and to give us a guideline on how much salt the average person should be consuming in one day. And then straight after that, Zola will show us 2 types of salt substitutes that she conjured up. Lots of S's today, lots of S's. Cindy, so good to have you in studio.
Thanks, Anne.
All right, so let's talk about how much salt the average person should be consuming on a daily basis.
So the upper limit is about 5 grams or a teaspoon of salt, so not quite as excessive as what some of the viewers estimated.
Yeah.
But South Africans do tend to have 2 to 3 times more than the recommended amount, so we aren't doing that well. We do need a bit of salt for cellular metabolism and what's the word I'm looking for? Fluid volume, blood pressure, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So regulating that.
Yes.
And so we do need some, but in excess, it actually is quite bad for blood pressure and other diseases.
Now, when you mention a teaspoon, that's not a lot of salt if you think about it.
Yeah.
What are some of the foods that we're consuming that has a huge salt kind of intake?
So it's the common food. So it's things like bread, cereals, your savoury snacks, stock cubes, which are favourite in South African pantries. Soup powders, those sort of things that actually have a lot of salt. And someone mentioned their soy sauce. Soy sauce actually is a high source of salt.
That's
in the
massive,
diet.
yeah.
So those common eaten foods can actually add up quite quickly to add up to that 5 grams a day that we should be having.
So how does one reduce your salt intake without your food tasting bland?
So the trick is, and I excuse the pun, is not to go cold turkey.
Okay, cool, yes. Don't go with nothing immediately.
No, don't go with nothing.
All right,
it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for your taste buds to actually get used to less salt. So gradually use a bit less salt and then substitute with some delicious other flavours, so fresh herbs, spices, fresh lemon and garlic and chili, and those sort of things that actually then add body to your food or flavour to your food so that you're not so dependent on salt, and then gradually reduce. It's not that you need to aim to cut it out completely because we do need some of it, and it does enhance the flavour of food. Salt also has a function to preserve and add texture to food, so you can't eliminate it completely. And also, how likely are you to stick to it if your food tastes horrible?
Absolutely. So. Now, when it comes to reading food labels, I only usually just focus on the fat and the energy. Should we be looking at the sodium as well?
I think I think we should be, because some foods are quite high in it. And so if you're in doubt, always look at the sodium. It will be declared as sodium, and then use it. Use it to compare similar foods, because I think for most people it's a bit of gobbledygook. They don't quite understand what it's saying. So pick up 2 different items and that are similar and then see which one's higher. And in that way you start to get used to the different sodium levels and then gradually reduce.
Interesting. I'm so happy that we're having these conversations because it's something that we don't take note of, but very, very important. Now, if you are struggling to let go of your salt habit, don't worry. Zola is in the house. She's going to be giving us 2 types of options when it comes to a salt-free lifestyle. Zola, how are you, darling?
I'm good. How are you?
Very Very, very good.
I love the tip that Cindy says to pick up 2 items
Yes.
and compare them. That's a really good one because, like you say, it's very confusing.
It is very confusing.
Now, what I like about you, you're always talking about the fact that salt enhances flavor
Absolutely.
in food, but sometimes we can have it enhance it too much.
Too much,
So
yes.
what are the 2 options that you're giving us when it comes to maybe an alternative to salt?
Yeah, so like Cindy said, adding things like spices, which add a lot of flavor, but
Yes.
don't necessarily have salt in them, it sort of tricks your mind into tasting, what you're supposed to be tasting, but without that flavor enhancement needing of salt. Okay?
All right. So
So
what
you're
are the-
going to
what
mix
are the
some
spices
spices
that
for me.
you
So
have here?
Woolworths has an array of spices. So with spices and using them for seasonings, it's best to actually use what you like.
Yeah.
So if you like a lot of cumin or you like a lot of something else, you just mix it as you will.
Just go for it.
Yeah, you go for it. So
Oh,
we've
must
got
I go for it?
Yeah, you got onion flakes
Onion
in there.
flakes.
So just a
Ooh,
few.
I love
Yeah,
onion
and these are
flakes.
dried,
Okay,
so
yes.
delicious.
What do we got here?
You got cumin, coriander.
Do we want to go for that?
Yeah, whatever you like.
Cayenne
Cayenne pepper. Yeah, a bit
Oh,
of spice,
that's
a bit of
great
heat is
metabolism
always.
booster as well.
It is, yeah, that's great. And then there's also these freeze-dried herbs. So we always talk about, using fresh herbs, but if they're freeze-dried, they sort of dry them at their optimum taste level. So when you get them dried,
Marjoram.
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 Okay.
It's close to the family of oregano, so you
Okay,
can use
cool.
either or. And then that's ground cumin. And then in front of ground cumin, there we've got some mace.
Garlic
I love
Garlic
garlic
powder,
powder.
always a
Nice.
winner.
No kissing today.
And what you can do to enhance the flavor of the spices as well is to sort of dry roast them. And then it sort of brings out all the flavor. And I was going to say that the mace over there in front of the
that's an
cumin,
interesting one.
that's just the outside of nutmeg. So not too much, because nutmeg is
okay.
hallucinogenic, so you don't want to...
Okay.
You don't want to trip everyone up. Okay, so then grind it all together.
What I love about this is that you can actually make up a batch and keep it in the cupboard.
Absolutely,
eh?
and make
Or
it for
like a
Christmas
favourite.
gifts. Put together a whole lot of spices
Great
and
idea.
put it in jars, tie a ribbon, give it to your friends.
Just
Lovely.
a tip as well. So be careful. Sometimes you can buy spice combos or mixes already done, and those actually do have hidden salt in them. So just check the label. Some of them do, some of them don't. So
Right.
just always check if there's already salt in like a mix, a premix.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we
then we've got some sweet potato wedges that
Yeah.
have just been drizzled in some olive oil. No seasoning, and then you're going to sprinkle some of your herb seasoning on there.
Love.
Your
But I'm
spice.
just worried that we're going to run out of time.
Okay,
so we
I'm
have
just going to
go
show
this
you
one.
another version, like Cindy said, is to use herbs and fresh things to flavour your food. So we've got some lemongrass, some basil, some coriander, some mint, or you could use parsley, lemon zest, chili, olive oil, and some more lemon. And you know what's really great? Lemon. If you just squeeze some lemon over something and you think it needs salt, the lemon sorts it out. So
Does it?
yeah, there's lots of ways.
Delicious.
So just
Beautiful.
play with flavour. That's all it is. Just put these into a food processor, blend it all up, and you've got a beautiful herb rub. But Cindy, why don't you taste her herb,
let's
her
go.
spice combination over there?
Wary
Here
of
we go.
the mace.
I hope my spice combination was good.
Delicious.
Of course.
Yeah, no
Someone
salt
throw it in the
needed.
kitchen. What? Marjoram. I knew that all the time.
And this is just a herb oil that you can also drizzle over the wedges, and it'll be delicious. Yeah.
Wonderful.
No
Oh, thank
No
you
salt
so
needed.
much, Zola. Thank you
Pleasure.
so much, Cindy, of course, helping us with our salt substitutes. We need to watch our salt intake because it's something that maybe in South Africa is a little bit higher than it should be. So we want to make sure that we have a fantastic festive season without any water retention. We don't like water retention. Cam, do you like water retention?
No, I'm not a fan. All right. But listen, after all of this talk about reducing salt, Woolies wants to know, what is your signature salt substitute this season? So whether it's fresh herbs or spices, we want to know. So simply comment on our Woolies post on our Facebook page and then let us know. And you could win a 2,000 Rand Woolworths voucher just like that, just in time for the festive season. The competition does close today at 2 p.m, so get entering. And terms and conditions can be found on expressoshow.com. We'll be right back after this break.